Hello everyone, welcome to yoga. My name is David and I'm creating these videos for students who might not have access to their normal yoga classes during this time when studio schedules are disrupted or fully canceled, at least for now. And today we're going to set aside about an hour or so to do some movement and some breathing, maybe a little bit of meditation at the end. So take a moment now to turn off your phone. Make sure you've got your mat set up with any props that you'd like to practice with. You won't need anything in particular for this practice, but props can be useful if you have them. If you know you like them, take a moment to grab what you think you might need. So let's come up to standing. We'll begin today in standing. Help us to try to shake off some of the sluggishness that may be induced by spending a lot of time stuck indoors. And we'll take a moment to close our eyes. Bring your awareness down into your feet. Then start to see if you can feel that feeling of your knees being stacked over your ankles, your hips being stacked over your knees. And then start to notice that lengthening feeling as your low ribs stretch out away from your hips. Lift your chest just slightly and let your shoulder blades slide down your back. Feeling your shoulders melt down away from your ears. Start to see if you can detect that slight lift at the crown of your head, almost as if you were dangling from a spider's thread, suspended in the center of the sky. And then bringing your hands together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. Let's take a moment to check in with your intention or your sankalpa. Remembering that sankalpa has two parts. The first part is your short-term intention, or what you need from today's practice to help bring you into harmony. And then taking a moment to consider your longer-term intention. Where do you hope the practice will take you in the long run? Trusting that this practice will serve your highest intention, let's seal that intention by chanting a few rounds of Hare Om, chanted 3 times. You should feel free to add your voice as much or as little as you like. Inhale. Hare Om. Hare Om. Slowly opening your eyes. Release your hands down by your sides. And we'll start our movement today by making some circles with the head. And then switching directions. And then coming back to neutral, use your inhalation to draw your shoulders up by your ears and squeeze the muscles in your neck. And then on your exhalation, roll your shoulders back and down, feeling the muscles in your upper back engage, your shoulder blades draw together. And keep moving this way with your own breath. Maybe starting to add that Ujjayi Pranayama, forming that slight constriction in the back of your throat, so that as you breathe in and out through your nose, you can hear the air as it passes through your throat on both the inhalation and the exhalation. And after your next exhalation, let's extend both arms out to the side. Turn the palms of your right hand up to face the ceiling, externally rotating at your shoulder. And then turn the palm of your left hand to face the back of the room, finding an internal rotation. And let your right ear drop over to the right. Continue breathing. And coming back through center, let's shift to the other side. So left palm turns up, right palm rolls back. Let your left ear drop over to the left and keep extending your fingertips, reaching as you rotate at the shoulder and breathe. Coming back to center. Let's bring both sets of hands to each shoulder, or each hand, the respective shoulder, and then make some forward circles with your elbows. And then make some backward circles. And then alternate going forward. Feel free to add a little bit of twist. That feels good. And then backward circles, alternating, like you're swimming the backstroke. All right, bringing both elbows forward. Let's see if we can move forward with your right elbow and backward with your left. And then switching directions. Have a sense of humor if you're having trouble with this. Switching directions one more time. And then again, wide. All right, bringing your palms together, let's roll out the wrists. Put your mind in the joint, see if you can build a little heat in the joint. Switch directions. Okay, and then turn your palms up to the ceiling, roll your elbows toward the front of the room, lift your chest, keep rolling the elbows forward, keep opening the palms of your hands up toward the ceiling, maybe even rolling them back toward the back of the room, creating that external rotation in the shoulders. And then on your exhalation, bend through your knees. Let your spine round, tuck your chin, wrap your hands behind your thighs. Take a few breaths here with a rounded back, bending the knees a lot to protect the low back. And on your inhalation, come on back up, lift the chest, roll the elbows forward, externally rotating the shoulders, little back bend. And exhale, bend the knees a little bit more, forward fold, tuck the chin, round the back. And keep moving this way with your own breath, inhaling up, exhaling down. Next time you exhale, let's forward fold. This time, you can let your arms release down to the floor, or maybe bring them to your legs somewhere. You can grab for your opposite elbow with your opposite hand. Sway a little bit side to side if that feels good to you. Wherever you're at, just make sure you keep a slight bend in your knees so that you can feel your belly compressing down onto your thighs. And let the crown of your head release down toward the floor. If after a couple of breaths it feels good to you to lengthen a little bit through the legs, go ahead and do so. Then on your next inhalation, come halfway up with your torso. So find that lift. Extend through the crown of the head toward the front of the room. Extend through your tailbone toward the back of the room. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and keep your neck nice and long as you breathe. And on your exhalation, let's go ahead and release into your forward fold. Inhale, come all the way up. Sweep your arms up. Reach for the ceiling. Maybe palms come to touch. On your exhalation, return to your Tadasana. And then extend both arms out toward the front of the room, palm facing down toward the floor. Your feet should be about hip distance apart. If you want to take them maybe a little bit wider, you can go ahead. And on your exhalation, let's lower down into a deep squat, but keep your heels on the ground. Don't go so low that your heels come up off the ground. And then on your next inhalation, come on back up. We'll do a few rounds like that with your own breath at your own pace. Next time you come up to standing, release the technique. Turn your palms to face the front of the room. Close your eyes. Return to your mountain pose and see if you can find that light, lifted balance. Watch your breath. So we're going to put all of those movements together, some of those movements together, to create a modified Ardha Surya Namaskara at a half Sun A salutation. So on your inhalation, bend your knees, lift your chest, roll your elbows forward, lift your palms. And then exhale, bend your knees, round your back, tuck your chin, fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, lower down into a deep squat. And then on your inhalation, rise all the way up. Reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Let's go forward through a few more rounds like that. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back, tuck the chin. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. Last round here. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale, round the back. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, deep squat. Inhale, rise up, reach for the ceiling. Exhale, mountain pose. I'm going to turn to face the short end of my mat, orienting myself probably in the way that most of you are oriented. If you're not there already, go ahead and face the front of your mat. And then on your next inhalation, reach your hands up toward the ceiling. And on your exhalation, forward fold. Inhale, half lift. And then exhale, step your left foot back. Bring your left knee and the top of your left foot down to the mat. And then use your inhalation to rise up into the low lunge. From here, we're going to grab for your left wrist with your right hand. We'll take a side bend over to the right. Continue breathing. And on your inhalation, let's come back to center. Release both hands. And we'll bring them back down to the floor. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee off of the mat. We'll take a few breaths here in this active runner's lunge. Continue pressing your left heel toward the back of the room. Continue lengthening forward through the crown of your head. Watch your breathing. And if you find your mind is wandering, pick a spot on the floor in front of you and softly focus your gaze there. And at the bottom of your exhalation, step your left foot up to meet your right foot. And then use your inhalation to come halfway up. Exhale, step back with your right foot this time. Bring your right knee, the top of your right foot down to the mat. And use your inhalation to rise up for the low lunge on the other side. Grabbing for your right wrist. Let's take a side bend over to your left. Continue breathing. Inhale, come back to center. On your exhalation, bring your hands down to the floor or maybe to a pair of yoga blocks. Curl your back toes under, lift your back knee. Take a few breaths here in your active runner's lunge, extending through the right heel, lengthening out through the crown of your head. Continue breathing. On your next exhalation, bring both hands down to the mat. Step your feet back into plank pose and inhale your shoulders over your wrists. And really charge up your legs as if you were in a standing pose. Remember that your head is part of your spine, so try to keep it from falling off the cliff of your neck. Continue breathing. And on your next exhalation, let's lower all the way down to your mat, either in plank with control, or knees, chest, chin. Releasing both feet, tops of the feet down to the mat. Walk your hands back a little bit so they're closer to level with your low ribs, the heels of your hands. And on your inhalation, lift your head and your chest. And then on your exhalation, lower back down. And keep moving this way with your own breath. And as you move, try to use the strength of your back body to execute the movements rather than the strength of your arms. The next time you inhale, stay lifted with your head and your chest. And maybe pick up your feet and your knees as well. If you want to hover your hands off the mat, squeeze your shoulder blades together, go ahead. Or if you want to reach behind your sacrum and weave your fingers together, pressing your knuckles back down towards your heels, you can take that variation. Continue breathing. And on your exhalation, let's lower all the way down to your mat. Bring your palms down underneath your shoulders. And on your next exhalation, extend your right arm straight out to the side, level with your shoulder, and roll to the right in your mouth. And then use your inhalation to bring you back to your mat. Draw your left hand in. And on your next exhalation, extend your right arm straight out to the side. Sorry, I got my right and left confused. And roll over to your right. All right, coming back to center on the inhalation. On your next exhalation, extend your left arm straight out to the side. And then on your next inhalation, return to center. And on your exhalation, slide your right arm straight out to the side, palm facing down, and roll to your right. So just keep breathing this way as you move. And breathing slowly enough Then you give yourself time to work into the edge on either side and not rushing through the inhalations to get to your next stretch. Once you've completed an equal number in both directions, let's come back to center. Prop yourself up onto your forearms. Lift up through the crown of your head. And then bend through your knees and make some big circles with your feet to help rotate your femurs and the hip sockets. And then switching directions. Coming back down onto your belly, we'll do one more thing before we move on. Bring your palms down onto your sacrum, or palms facing up, rather the backs of your hands down onto your sacrum. And on your next inhalation, extend your right arm forward and lift your left leg. And then on your exhalation, lower down, turning your head to the left as your right arm comes back. And then on your next inhalation, extend your left arm, lift your right leg. And on your exhalation, lower back down, letting your left ear come down. Just continue moving this way as you breathe. Again, stretching out the breath to make the breath last a little bit longer than the movement. And then once you've done both sides an equal number of times, bring both hands down on the mat, heels of the hands down by your low ribs. Curl your toes under. And on your exhalation, press yourself back up to table and then walk your hands forward for downward facing dog. So your hands should be about shoulder width apart. Index fingers might be dialed open just slightly. Make sure that you're pressing down through the base knuckles of all four fingers and your thumb. Release the crown of your head. Let your tailbone shift back toward the back of the room. Heels are heavy, and the crown of your head is released down toward the floor. Bottom of your next exhalation. Step or hop your feet to the front of your mat. And then inhale, find your half lift, find your flat back. And on your exhalation, release back down into your forward fold. Turning the toes of your right foot open at a 45-degree angle. Bend through your right knee any amount. Keep your left leg relatively straight. And walk your hands over to the right. Continue breathing. And coming back through center. Let's shift to the other side. So turn the toes of your left foot out at a 45-degree angle. Bend through your left knee. Keep your right leg relatively straight. And walk your hands over to the left. Coming back to center. Square your toes and then heel toe your feet open until they're a little bit wider than your hips. And sink down into a deep squat. This time we'll practice a static variation of the squat, Malasana. And if you find that your heels don't come all the way down to the floor, you can turn your toes out to the side a little bit, or maybe even walk your feet a little bit wider, which creates more space in your hips to help you lower down. Continue breathing. And walking your left hand out toward the edge of your mat. Press with your upper left arm into the inside of your left leg. Reach your right arm up toward the ceiling as you take a twist. And continue breathing. And remember, if this deep squat shape doesn't serve you at all, you can sit on a block or you can come down onto your back, draw your knees into your chest, and press down through your thighs, creating that deep flexion in your spine. Or in your hips, rather. I'm sorry. Alright, coming back to center. Let's switch to the other side. So walk your right hand off to the side of your mat. Press down with the inside of your right arm into the inside of your right leg. And then extend your left arm up toward the ceiling. Continue breathing. Alright, coming back to center. Let's come back up to standing, not all the way, but just straighten through your legs and then heel toe your feet in until they're about hip distance apart. Take your peace fingers and your thumbs and wrap them around your big toes. And then release the crown of your head, keeping a little bend in your knees so that you maintain that contact between your belly and your thighs. And press down with your big toes into your fingers. And resist your fingers back into your big toes. Feeling your tailbone and your outer hips moving up toward the ceiling. Allow the top of your head to release down toward the mat. Right, keeping the bind. On your next inhalation, lift up through your torso until your arms are straight. Keep your chin tucked. And then on the exhalation, release back into your feet. And keep moving this way for a few rounds of breath. Each time you inhale, come halfway up, straighten through your arms. Each time you exhale, release back down into your feet. The next time you come halfway up, let's pause here. We're going to repeat the same action with the breath, but we're going to add a few rounds of external breath retention. So this should be safe for you to do with Uddiyana Bandha as long as you're not pregnant or haven't recently had abdominal surgery. So on your exhalation, go ahead and exhale all the air out as you forward fold. And then keeping the air out, sucking the low belly in towards your spine. Tuck your chin, come halfway up. Once you're halfway up and your arms are straight, release the low belly and let the air come back in through your nose. Take a resting breath if you like, or just repeat. Exhaling all the air out. Suck the low belly down into the spine. Keep the air out as you come halfway up, tucking the chin. Once your arms are straight, release the low belly and let the air come back in through your nose. Once you've completed the round that you're currently on, at the bottom of your next exhalation, release the bind. Use your inhalation to come all the way up to standing. Reach up for the ceiling. And then on your exhalation, go ahead and return to mountain pose. We're going to balance now. So if you prefer to shift near a wall to help you with your balance, you can go ahead. I'm turning so that you can see me a little bit better, but you can stay facing in front of the mat. We're going to shift your weight onto your right foot, and then bringing your left foot into a kickstand. We're going to prepare for tree pose, so you can stay with the toes of your left foot grounded, or you can bring your left foot to the inside of your left thigh. Maybe you can bring your left heel all the way up to the inside of your leg. Find something on the floor, the wall in front of you. Find something on the floor or on the wall in front of you that's not moving, and softly focus your gaze there. And then squeeze your standing leg onto your foot and your foot onto your standing leg, creating an isometric contraction. And press your palms together as you breathe. If you would like to find a little shoulder opening in the shape, slide your left hand down toward your left ankle. Reach your right hand behind your back and slide your fingers over toward your left arm, maybe binding on the left bicep. Continue breathing. Releasing your left foot down to the mat mentally and physically shift your weight over to the other side, to your left foot. Set up your tree pose. Find your dristi, that spot on the floor or the wall in front of you that's not moving. Softly focus your gaze there. Press your foot onto your standing leg, your leg onto your standing foot, onto your foot. Bring your hands to Anjali Mudra. Then from here, you can stay here and breathe, or if you want to find that shoulder opening, slide your right hand down toward your right ankle, reach your left hand behind your back, maybe binding on the elbow or on the bicep of your right arm. Releasing the bind if you have it. Let's bring both feet down to the mat. And then from the front of your mat, let's open up into a wide-legged stance. Bend through your knees. Turn your toes out at a 45-degree angle and sink down as if you were riding a horse. Weave your fingers together and press your palms down to the floor. And on your inhalation, reach up overhead. And then on your exhalation, go ahead and release the bind and press the energy out as you sit a little lower. Keep moving this way as you breathe. On your next inhalation, let's come all the way up to standing. Spin your toes in just slightly, or spin your heels out so that you become a little pigeon toe. And then use your inhalation to lift your chest. And on your exhalation, forward fold, hinge at the hips. Bring your hands down to the floor, maybe to a pair of blocks. Release the crown of your head. And once you're down in Prasarita Padottanasana, you leave your hands down on the floor. You can grab for your ankles. Or you can take any hand variation you like. Continue breathing. On your inhalation, let's come halfway up to bring your hands down to the floor. Turn your toes of your right foot out at a 45-degree angle and sink down into a transverse lunge to. So you can walk your hands either on the floor or on top of your blocks over to the right. Continue breathing.
And then inhaling back to center. Let's turn the toes of your left foot out at a 45-degree angle. And walk your hands over to the left. Continue breathing. Coming back to center. Walk your hands forward to find your flat back. And again, if you need to prop yourself up on blocks and bring the floor a little closer to you, go ahead. Your left hand's going to come underneath your chin. We'll take a twist to your right. Your right hand can come to your sacrum, or maybe you can extend your right arm up toward the ceiling. If it feels available to you, and you can do it without distorting through your hips so much, you can slide your right hand all the way around your low back and bind under your left thigh. Continue breathing. And after a couple breaths, if you want a little bit more, maybe walk your left hand over toward the outside of your right foot and deepen the twist. Releasing the twist. Let's come back through center. Bring your right hand down underneath your chin. We'll twist to the left this time. So left hand comes to the sacrum. Maybe extends up toward the ceiling, maybe wrapping around the low back to bind on the right thigh. Keep working your left shoulder over your right shoulder. Continue breathing. And then release your right hand down to the outside of your left foot. Deepen the twist if you did so on the other side. Coming back through center. Release both hands down to the mat. Use your inhalation to come all the way back up to standing. Turn the toes of your right foot to face the front of your mat and sink down for warrior two. Find the outer edge of both feet. Feel your knees moving away from one another and your inner leg lines opening up. Eye gaze is soft off the middle finger of your right hand. Continue breathing. And then wrapping your right arm over your left, grab for your opposite shoulder, or maybe move into Garuda arms as you breathe. Lift up through your fingertips, press your forearms toward the front of the room, or toward me. Tuck your chin. Continue breathing. Go down your inhalation, unwind through your arms. Let's straighten through your front leg. Weave your fingers together behind your back. Inhale, lift your chest. And on your exhalation, let's move in toward triangle pose. And then on your inhalation, come on back out. So let's move in and out a few times like that with your own breath. Each time you exhale, feel your right hip glide back and your left shoulder and your left hip wrap back. And then each time you inhale, come on back out. All right, the next time you exhale, let's release down into the posture. Extend your right arm down toward the floor. Extend your left arm up toward the ceiling. Continue breathing. Good. Inhaling, come on back to center. Square your toes to face the long edge of your mat. Turn the toes of your left foot toward the short end of your mat, at the back of your mat, and let's repeat warrior two on the other side. Continue breathing. And then crossing your left arm over your right this time. Maybe moving into Garuda arms, double binding by sliding the fingers of your right hand into your left palm. Press your forearms toward the long edge of your mat in front of you. Lift up through your fingertips, tuck your chin. Continue breathing.
Try to welcome whatever arises in your experience as part of your practice. And on your inhalation, release the bind, straighten through the front leg, weave your fingers together behind your back. Take the non-habitual grip, and keeping your chest square to the long edge of the mat in front of you. On your exhalation, your left hip glides, and your right shoulder and your right hip breath back. And then inhale back up. And keep moving this way with your own breath. The next time you exhale, let's release down into the posture. Left arm drops down somewhere below the left knee. Right arm extends up toward the ceiling. Continue breathing. Inhale. Let's come on back up. Turn your toes to face the long edge of the mat, and then pivot to face the short end of your mat. Let's step to the front of your mat. Find your feet about hip width apart. Turn your palms to face the front of the room. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold. Hinge at the hips, bend your knees. Inhale, half lift. And then exhale, step or hop back into plank. Inhale your shoulders over your wrist. And on your exhalation, let's lower all the way down to your belly with control, either in plank or knees, chest, chin. And once you're down, bring the tops of your feet down. Press through your arms. We'll come to standing on your knees. And bring your hands to your low back. Turn your fingers down toward the back of your knees as if you were sliding your fingers into your back pocket. And then before you enter into Ustrasana, bend through your knees until you feel the muscles over your pubic bone engage. And then once you do, press your hips forward, lift up through your chest. Try to keep your neck long. The back of your neck stays as long as the front of your neck. Your legs stay active, which will help to support your spine to extend out of your pelvis, almost like a jet of water shooting out of a fountain. Continue breathing. And if it feels all right to you, you can slide your hands down the back of your legs. And maybe reach back for your heels. Keep that lift in your chest. And then on your inhalation, let's come forward. On your exhalation, sit back down on your heels into Vajrasana, Thunderbolt pose. And if it's uncomfortable for you to sit this way, then slide a block in between your heels, maybe even two, or you can just come down to seated on your bum. And so reaching up with your right arm, bring your palm down between your shoulders, press the back of your head into your forearm, and then reach your left arm up, maybe give it a gentle assist. If you want to reach your left arm, if you want to release the assist and reach your left arm behind your back to bind, you can go ahead and do so. Binding Gomukhasana arms, so you can stay right here as you breathe. Releasing the bind, whatever bind you have with your hands. We'll come back up to standing. We're going to repeat camel one more time. Knees about hip width apart, feet about hip width apart. If you found that last time that it was a little bit of an uncomfortable reach, or you just were close from reaching for your heels, you can curl your toes under this time, bring your heels up a little bit further from the floor. So we bring our hands to our hips. Before you find your back bend, bend through the knees. Feel the muscles over your pubic bone engage, and then when you're ready, start to lift the chest. If it feels good to you, slide your hands down your low back. Keep your neck long. We don't want to crunch to the back of the neck. You hear what happens to my voice. It's a sign that the shape in your neck is poor. You can reach back for the heels. Go ahead and reach back for the heels, pressing the hips toward the front of the room. Continue breathing. Inhale, come on, back up. Exhale, let's sit back down in Vajrasana. We'll reach the left arm up this time. Walk your fingers down between your shoulder blades. Press the back of your head into your forearm. Maybe reach up and over with the right hand. Give yourself a little gentle assist. You can slide that right hand behind your back and bind on your shirt or on your hands. And choose what feels more useful to you today. Alright, release whatever you're doing with your body. From here, we're going to come forward into seated. So you can bring your hands down to the mat, swing your legs out to the side, come down seated on your bottom. We're going to do a Dandasana staff pose, but I'm going to invite you to set up near the front of the mat so that your knees are close to the edge of the short end of your mat. Take a moment to move the fleshy part of your bottom away from your sits bones if it's helpful. And then flex through your feet, creating some internal rotation of your thighs so that you feel the ball mounts of your big toes pressed together. We'll come up onto our fingertips today near your hips. Lift your chest, let your shoulder blades slide down your back, tuck your chin, lift up through the crown of your head. And take a few breaths here. As you breathe, notice if you're creating any tension anywhere in your body. If you are, see if you can relax into those places. And likewise, notice if there's any places in your body where you can't feel very much. And see if you can bring the awareness of your breath into those areas. Almost if you're carrying that energy of your breath into those dark parts of your body. And on your next exhalation, slide your hands forward towards your feet. You can bend through your knees if you like a little bit. We're going to move dynamically here. So on your inhalation, come back up to your Dandasana. Find a brief pause here. Tuck your chin. Just do a brief internal breath retention. And then on your exhalation, roll back any amount toward clouds. You don't have to come all the way back so that your feet come back toward the ground, but if they do, that's fine. And then inhale, come on back up. Brief pause at the top of your staff pose, tuck your chin. And then on your exhalation, forward fold, drawing the low belly in and letting your hands slide forward as you fold. Inhale back up to Dandasana. Brief pause. And then on your exhalation, roll back any amount toward plow. Just keep moving this way with your own breath. Each time you inhale, find that brief breath retention at the top. And then each time you exhale, you're either folding forward or rolling back into the next time you forward fold, let's take a few breaths in the forward fold. And you can feel free here to grab for your feet, or maybe slide a strap around your feet. If you have one available, you can even use a sock and stretch it around your feet. That makes for a better reach. Take any amount of bend in your knees that's going to serve you, and then think about
extending out of your pelvis rather than trying to bring your head down to your shins or your knees. Continue breathing. And if anything feels a little crunchy, see if you can make an adjustment, maybe creating a little more length in the low back, lifting up a little bit more. Maybe taking a little more bend in the back of your knees. And on your next inhalation, let's come back up to seated and then roll back down into your back. We'll set ourselves up next for shoulder stand. So if you have shoulder stand in your practice and you know where you're going, you can go ahead and go there. If you do not feel like inverting today or only want to take a partial inversion, you can pick up your hips and slide a yoga block or even a thick, hard-bound book underneath your hips and rest your hips on top of it. And then bring your feet up toward the ceiling. If you are moving into shoulder stand, bring your palms down flat on the mat. And then press your feet up toward the ceiling, lifting your hips and bringing your hands to your low back. Once you're here, walk your elbows in a little bit toward one another. Press down through your upper arms. Make sure there's a lot of length through the back of your neck. And then flex through your feet as if you were trying to press the ball mounts or where your toes root into your foot up toward the ceiling. Legs are zipped together. Breath is calm and extended. And then on your exhalation, let's go ahead and move back toward plow. So if it feels like you need to bend your knees to release a little pressure in your low back, you can go ahead. If your feet come all the way down to the floor, you can release your hands, maybe taking a bind, weaving your fingers together and pressing your fingers down toward the mat. Don't turn your head in this shape at all. Just continue breathing. And on your inhalation, let's return back to your back by way of shoulder stand, if you can. Maybe bending through your knees and releasing your hips back down toward the floor. Once your feet are back down, take your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Bring your arms out to the side. And on your exhalation, let both knees drop over to the right. Then inhale back to center. And on your exhalation, let both knees drop over to the left. And then return back to center. You keep moving this way with your own breath. Moving nice and slowly so that as you move to one side, you have enough time to explore your end range of motion or your edge. And then on your next inhalation, take enough time, maybe even pausing in the middle, so that you don't rush through the inhalation and disrupt that pattern, that Samavriti pattern. Equal fluctuation, making the inhalations and the exhalations last the same amount of time.
next time, your knees drop over to the right. Let's take a few breaths here. If you want to hook your right ankle over the top of your left thigh, feel free to do so. If you want to turn your eye gaze toward your left hand, extend it out toward the side of the mat, go ahead and do so, finding the counter twist for your neck. Continue breathing. Wherever you're at, let's release your feet. If you have a bind, come back to center. Keep your feet wide, about a mat width apart. Let both knees drop over to the left. You want to hook your left ankle over the outside of your right thigh. Go ahead and do so. Just giving a little bit of weight to the outer right thigh to help traction. Out your hip, and then maybe turn your eye gaze over towards your right hand this time, providing a counter twist for your neck. Continue breathing. Releasing your top foot back down to the mat. If you had it down, let's come back to center. And then take a moment here in the center to see if there's anything that you have left to do in your body while you're warm, anything you want to work on. Feel free to go ahead. You can even pause the video if you want. The next pose that we're going to move in together is going to be Shavasana. So if you're ready to move into your final resting pose, then take a moment just to set yourself up in any way that's going to serve you. If it's useful for you to grab some socks or a blanket to help keep you warm while you come into your final rest, and take a moment to grab what you need, build your nest, and when you're ready, go ahead and come on down. And again, if you want to pause the video here to extend your final rest, you can even set a timer on your phone for 10 minutes or whatever length of time you want to lay here, and just allow yourself some time to relax, maybe meditate a little bit, giving yourself an opportunity not so much to stop your thinking. I know a lot of us have been dealing with a lot of incessant thinking lately, but maybe just to allow yourself to process whatever arises. So as you come back down, just set a small intention to welcome whatever arises in your body and in your mind, not pushing anything away, just watching things as they come and go. And if you find that even watching feels like too much to do, just give yourself over to the practice of doing absolutely nothing at all.
If you find that you've drifted off and lost your conscious connection to your breathing, bring your attention back to your navel and slowly begin to deepen your inhalations and lengthen your exhalations. When it feels appropriate for you to do so, reintroduce some movement back into your body. Starting small, maybe moving your fingers and your toes, and then bending through your knees. When you feel ready, you can roll to one side, maybe spending a moment down in a fetal position, or just use the strength of your arms to press yourself back up to a comfortable seat. If it's useful for you to set up on a block or a bolster to add a little height underneath your hips, go ahead. You do not need to sit cross-legged. You can even sit in a chair while we practice a few minutes of pranayama. So sitting up nice and tall, close your eyes. And release your low belly. Let your tongue come down from the roof of your mouth. And lightly press the tip of your tongue against the juncture where the back of your top teeth meet the roof of your mouth. And if you haven't already, close your eyes. And then bringing your attention to your breath as it enters and exits at the tip of your nose. Just begin to observe your breathing. Noticing the sensations that are present as you inhale through your nose and exhale through your nose. Not doing anything special with the breath right now, just observing your normal pattern. On your next inhalation, add a silent count to make your inhalations and your exhalations last the same amount of time. So if you inhale for a count of 5, exhale for a count of 5. If you inhale for a count of 8, exhale for a count of 8. At the top of your next inhalation, add an internal breath retention that lasts half as long as your inhalations and your exhalations. So if you've been inhaling for a count of 6, hold the air in for a count of 3 at the top of your inhalation, and then exhale for a count of 6. Just continue breathing in this way with the internal breath retention. And of course, if you've used an odd number for your breath count, you can keep that, but just fudge it a little on the internal breath retention, making it a little longer or a little shorter than that. If you feel like continuing longer with this exercise, please feel free to pause the video and just let yourself continue breathing in this way for as long as it feels useful to you. And when you're ready to conclude, at the bottom of your next exhalation, release the technique, release the internal breath retention, and release the count. And then bring your palms together in prayer position, Anjali Mudra at the level of your heart. And take one final moment to enjoy the peace that you've created through your practice. And we'll close today by chanting Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Inhale. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti means peace. May all beings know peace and freedom from suffering. Namaste. Thanks, everyone. I hope you found this practice useful. I hope you feel more prepared to go out and deal with your family or your roommates or your dog. I'm sure, even though they probably didn't appreciate the barricade that you had to build outside of your door to keep them out of your space during this time, they will appreciate the fact that you practiced. It's important to remember that if you can, you have the ability to keep trying to support your yoga teachers as they figure out ways to navigate this wacky time. And if you need anything, you have any questions, feel free to email me via the studio, or you can reach out to me through the contact information on our YouTube page. So be well, stay safe, maintain your social distance to keep everybody else from getting sick. And I hope to see you all again soon, whether it's in virtual space or hopefully at the studio. Namaste.